Today, we're going to talk about disaster preparedness, something you can do in your house in the wintertime, when it's raining out, when it's wet, or maybe it's snowing, maybe you're even snowed in, and you're sitting there in the comfort of your home going, what can I do? Well, this you can do, and at the same time as you do it, it'll be like putting money in the bank. Most of us have seen little things like this. They're little fire starters, little bricks of wax melted in with cedar chips, and you can get them for about $1 a piece. Yeah, something along those lines, and $1 to $1.99, and so they're not that expensive. But if you're sitting around and have nothing else to do, you can make them for a whole lot less than $1 a piece. I began this project with some sawdust. Now this is some sawdust that I got from a cedar stump that I tore up. And the reason it's in the oven is because it rains around here. And as you can see all the steam coming off there, the sawdust is wet. You can't use it wet. So I put it in the oven at 250 degrees and we're going to dry it out nicely. And then we can make our fire starters with it. So that's the first thing. You got to make sure your sawdust is dry. First, let's go over materials. One of the first things you need is you need these cupcake trays. Now I went to the dollar store and got 2 of these for $1. Then I got the little liners for making cupcakes for $1 for a pretty good size package of those. Then for less than $1 I bought this spoon at a secondhand store. And then I got, for $2.99, I got this whole big package of candles from the secondhand store. They're really ugly and nobody wants them, so that's where they're going to end up making bricks. I also spent $1 on the pan that I'm drying the sawdust out in the oven. So altogether, that's what? Altogether for, the stuff to make it and the materials to make it, it's about $7. So that's not bad. Once you have all the reusable materials such as the cupcake pans and the spoon and things like that, the actual cost is pretty cheap. It's just what it costs you to get wax, and I usually get it at secondhand stores or at garage sales or what have you like that, because you can get really good deals and get quite a bit. Now it really doesn't matter what color of wax you use, but I'm going to use red this time because it shows up so much better on the film, so you can really see what's going on. Now if you're just making a few of these, just a handful of them, you don't need very much wax, but I'm going to be making quite a few, so I'm going to use 2 candles worth of wax here. And I'm going to use a classic double boiler system. I've got 2 saucepans here, one inside the other. There's water in between them. But you don't want water mixed in with your wax, obviously, but you don't want to burn your wax and cause a fire in the kitchen, because wax is flammable once it's melted. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat on underneath this double boiler, and I'm going to break these in half, these candles in half, and stick them in my pan and get them just start melting them. And the wicks will come out, and you can save the wicks later if you like for something else, because you won't need them in this, or you can just mix them in. It really doesn't matter. One note of caution: never use your wife's good pans, because wax is pervasive. It will stick to anything, and it's nearly impossible to clean up. So no matter where you work, make sure you protect the working surface and you don't use your wife's nice stuff, or you might just be in trouble. You might be sleeping on the couch. Okay, I have the sawdust here all dried out. I haven't been in the oven for a couple of hours, and I kept stirring it, and it's now just hot and dry. So I'm going to take a fork and I'm going to get the wicks out of here. These are the wicks from the candles. I'm just going to set them over here off to the side. And we're going to just start the process here. We're going to take and stir in some sawdust into the wax. And the wax is hot, and so is the sawdust, so we should be able to get quite a bit in there before it starts getting hard. You can see here, there's not puddles in here, but everything is thoroughly soaked with wax. When this cools, that's going to let everything dry out quite well. So now that I've got this nicely mixed together, we'll stick it in the cupcakes. So we have our cupcake trays here. And we will stick it down in here. Give it a good press. You don't want to press it too tight, just enough to make it compact together. If you press it too tight, there won't be any room for air to get in there, because you don't want it to be a solid, total solid block. You just want it to be a somewhat held together with wax, so they're not just crumbly mess, but yet able to be lit on fire. Because the idea of these isn't to be your source of fire, but a way to start a fire. Okay, now that I have 2 of these trays completely full, I've used about 5 candles and just a tiny bit of the sawdust. So, hey, you know, I haven't even made a big mess in my wife's kitchen. So, let's go and stick them out in the cold and let them cool off and start solidifying. And then let's see how well they work. Alright, they've cooled now. And check this out. Boy, these bad boys, they come right out. And they're nice and solid. They don't want to fall apart. They're a little crumbly, but that's good. So let's take them out to the fire pit and see how well they work. You keep in mind all this wood is wet from the rain. It's working out pretty good. It's going to burn for a while. It's going to heat this wood up. It's going to start burning. You'll hear it cracking and popping soon, and next thing you know, we'll have us a fire going. Alright, there you go. One of these little biscuits started a fire in adverse conditions, in the wind, in the rain, and wet wood. So, and they cost about 12 cents a piece to make. That's pretty decent. That sure beats the heck out of $1 to $2 a piece that you buy them for, plus shipping and all that stuff. So, yeah, just make these, wrap them in plastic wrap, and store them up. It's like money in the bank.